Whether you're a chef or a cook, if cooking really means something to you, let me tell you a secret. The most important part of any cooking is you. And the most important part of you is your knife. And that's why I say it's very important to have a great relationship with your knife if you want to have a great relationship with food. Let me make that relationship great for you. Let me break down the knife for you. So, any knife will always have 4 major parts to it: the tip, the spine, the blade, and the handle. Let's start with the tip. The tip is the most important and the most underrated part of a knife. It gives you access to areas where otherwise you cannot reach. Hence, the tip needs to be sharp and a tip needs to provide you control. The back of the blade is also known as the spine. For a good spine, you need flexibility, but it shouldn't be too flexible or you'll end up cutting your hand. And it definitely cannot be a stiff spine. Talking about the blade or the edge, as we call it, the most important part to look at on the edge is even sharpening, to say the least. It should look like it's evenly beveled and sharpened all across. If you look at the blade from one end to another, it needs to look the same thickness with the same gradient. The handle, it shouldn't be too sticky and it shouldn't be too slippery. And it should definitely have these finger guards. These are on your knife so that whenever you're cooking, the finger doesn't really slip and come below the blade. Now let's talk in detail about the 3 most essential blades that you will need to know about. Now let's start with this beautiful 15 centimeter blade. Great grip, great balance. The beauty of this knife is the straight edge blade. For all detail-oriented work, especially for peeling fruits, imagine having to peel a papaya with a small knife, or a pineapple or a watermelon with a small knife. For all peeling, coring, detail-oriented work, this is a beautiful knife. And remember, when you find the balance on a knife, that's where you have to grip it from. Next in line is a 17 centimeter blade with a fluted edge. This shape is called a santoku shape, which in Japanese means 3 virtues. So this knife serves the purpose of a knife, a cleaver, and a chopper. Now when you look at the blade, you can see the fluted edge. This fluted edge prevents sticking. It prevents friction, especially when you're cutting delicate things that stick to your knife, like papaya, like cheese, like jackfruit. The other most important part of this knife, other than the balance, is the weight that it carries. So the balance and the weight of this knife allows you to use this for many purposes. You can use this for meats, for cheese, for veggies, for fruits. Anytime you're confused, this is the blade to go to. Clean cut, minimum wastage. This is my favorite blade. And the third blade is the 19 centimeter carving blade. It's called carving blade for a reason, because large cuts of meat, large fruits, if you want to cut effortlessly with absolute precision, this is the blade. And you know what? The reason I like it so much is that it gives balance and it gives perfect control from the base to the tip. So there you go. These are the 3 essential knives that you need to have in your kitchen. And like I always say, knife and life is about control, balance, and precision.
So we heard from the chef itself about the knife. Now, as chef has said, 3 important knives which have to be in the kitchen. But yes, we have more knives which are there in the kitchen. So I would ask our cameraman to focus a little more on the different types of knives what we have right now. And to tell you more, this is the palette knife which is used mostly to decorate the cake, to apply the icing, to apply frosting, but this is a palette knife. Now, this is most of the time is being known to us. This is, of course, a butcher's knife, which is being most of the time used by the butchers to cut the big joints of meat. Again, the hardest of the knife and the blade. As said, this is a chef's knife. This is a knife which is usually being used most. This is called utility knife. So we have different parts of knife which have been explained by Chef Will. So once we complete the whole set of knives, we will be coming back to the anatomy of the knife. So this is again a sort of carving knife or a basic boning sort of chef knife again, carving knife. Then we have a boning knife. Now what is a boning knife? Boning knife is a knife which is used to cut down the bone between the meats. So this is a part which is how you identify between a carving knife and a boning knife. Now, this is a serrated knife, which is also called bread knife. So these are the knives which are being used mostly to cut any of the breads, any of the veggies. Okay, so this is bread knife. Then our small, which is again a chef utility knife. So chef utility knife is smaller knife than most of the knives that you see here. Again, for a smaller carving equipment or anything which is smaller size. Then this is again a sort of carving knife. This is again a bread knife which is being used. So you can see the serrated edges which are there. So again, to cut any of cheese, any of the material which is there. Then you have screw. So this is a sort of fluted knife which gives a specific shape to any of the vegetables or to any of the fruits which are being used. Then this is a small carving knife. So these are two different types of here. Again, utilized in most of the cases to carve food, to peel citrus fruit, and this very peculiar equipment. What you see is a sharpening rod. So this is all a sharpening steel. So this is being mostly used when our knife edges got a little blunt, and to sharpen them again so that we can have a good cutting. So this is our sharpening steel, sharpening rod, and of course a major component without which the kitchen knife introduction would be again won't be complete. So this is a peeler. Most of the times, the most utilized equipment in the kitchen and around the globe. So this is a peeler which helps in peeling anything which requires a sort of substantial peeling. Now, talking about the anatomy of knife, it's already discussed. This is the blade spine part which is there. This is the tip. This is the cutting edge. This is the tang. This is the hose. We peel. Now we'll be making julienne, Renault, and the different cuts which are at. So nicely peeled, and now. So when we make a julienne, again, what are julienne? Julienne is a cut which is being mostly used in Oriental cuisine. When we are using julienne onions are being used mostly when we are making biryani. So this is how the julienne cut is being used. Beans trimmings also would be used. Now, cutting it thin. So let me use peeler as well again. So thin, why I'm thin? Why I'm taking a thin peel? Because this where we be using to make it thin juliennes. And then of course the Brunoise. So this would be used for making Brunoise and thin julienne, fine julienne. Now for bigger julienne. So you can see I am putting like in right. So this later on would be cutting into dice as well. If you have noticed, I'm putting all the cuttings in different areas so that later I can justify what I'm cutting. So this is the dice done. I'm putting the vegetable here to identify. So this is now the between julienne. A very basic difference between a julienne and shredding would be where we use vegetable. If we do a cut like julienne, they would be for shredding, whereas if we do a regular vegetable, to see how I'm holding the knife, I'm using my thumb and fingers to guide my blade. This is the julienne what you see. Now the fine julienne. Now you see the difference, the thickness, thinness which is there. The julienne done. Now we'll be thin batten and then thick batten. This is batten cut. Now we'll be taking out Bruno out of this. It's very essential that chef should be very keen to use all the vegetables. There shouldn't be any wastage because there will be lost a lot of cost which should be lower. fine quinoa. Again, you see I'm putting it little more thinner. So now the bottom cuts which are right. Of course, as I told, the effects all the vegetables. Since I use the it has the exact shape which is there. So this is also being termed as these cuts. You will be baby cuts. If your mom cuts slides, what is means it? Round cuts. Then of course, Asian cuts. then, of course, the button. The French fries are what you see. Button cut. That's second one already done. So now we are now we do slicing. So slicing onion. Beautiful purple cabbage. We remove the heart. And we spread. So same way when we do bouillon, we spread between the, let's see, again was most delighted to host you today evening at IIHM Jaipur for the culinary studio, career studio, and thank you. Have a nice day.
IIHM, popularly known as the International Institute of Hotel Management, is one of the largest private hospitality institutes that imparts world-class education and can firmly pride itself for being one of the most foremost academic institutions of the country that offer globally recognized international degrees in hotel management. The hugely popular events that they host IIHM International Young Chef Olympiad. As the last dish is plated, they can only wait till the evening for the verdict to be pronounced. IIHM as an institute has always been able to define its core objectives clearly over the years. It is an institution that has always worked towards causes that give back to the society. IIHM proudly and aptly calls them food soldiers, a dynamic group of students working tirelessly to ensure a hunger-free world.
Hotel management, hotel plus management. At IIHM, the education is like doing a BBA plus hospitality, because at IIHM we train our students to become global business hospitality managers. In one hand, they are full of knowledge in hospitality, charismatic, and they have got the study skills of very hardcore management subjects like finance, strategic HR, global marketing, and a whole range of the management inputs.
For a great hospital.